Hello! Buckle up, everyone. Here we go again. My commute is about to be so long. I'm like half in, half out of the parking garage or the garage right now because we were repairing a crack in my windshield. So I'll like insert a photo, but I was driving to work almost like a week ago, a few days ago, and I wasn't driving behind a truck, I wasn't tailing any cars, I was literally about to get my exit, and just a rock comes out of nowhere and decides that it's gonna crack my windshield. So I got like a tiny little like a impact and then like a little circle around it, and my deductible was like $250, and it's not in my line of sight and it's not impacting my visibility, so I was like, we could just repair it ourselves. So we just tried to do like part of it, but I'm running really late to work and we realized there's no sun anyways, so it's gonna be really hard for it to cure. So we're just gonna try again with the rest of the crack later. Luckily we're not in like Chicago, so there's not a huge change in like temperature, so hopefully that stops it from like spreading, because that's what you don't want to happen. Like, you don't want it to spread. So yeah, so now, well, right now it says I have 32 minutes to get to work, so we'll see if that's true or not. But yeah, that's just a little life update. But I got the crack in my windshield, and then the next day I went to play volleyball, and I got a parking ticket. So 2 back-to-back things with the car. But the volleyball itself was actually really fun, and I was there for a long time before they gave me like the actual parking ticket. So close, but unsuccessful. Yeah, so but at least the good thing is that this upcoming week is a long weekend. So today's Thursday at the time of filming, and I don't work tomorrow, so I work 980 schedule, which means I work 9 hours Monday through Thursday, and then every other Friday I either don't work or I work 8 hours. So we have off Friday weeks, and one of them is today, so I have a long weekend, like a 3-day weekend. So I'm really excited about that. I guess maybe since I'm already kind of like talking about work, I guess I could kind of talk about how did I get here, maybe. And also I think this would be really fun to document, because I don't know where I'll be in, I don't even know where I'll be in like 5 years, low key. I don't know who I'll be or where I'll be in 10 years, so it'd be kind of cool to be able to look back on this video and be like, whoa, like I did all of that and that's how I got here, and then from here I'm gonna do all of that and go somewhere else, I don't know. So yeah, but I guess well, we have 30 minutes, so let's see, how did I get here kind of begs the question, like how did I get into engineering and how did I go through engineering. So growing up I didn't even know that engineering was like a job a job that people could have, or a thing that existed, like, period. So I was lucky enough to come from, I have like a really big family though, and I saw like all of my older cousins like graduate high school and then go to university. So there's like, for me that was never a doubt in my mind, like, oh, I'm gonna go to college, like it's just like which one. So I'm really grateful for that, and that I never had the added stress and anxiety of like, what is college, like should I go, blah blah blah. For me it was just like the which one which I didn't see it before, but now I see is like a really big privilege to have, so I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I wasn't like super concerned with what I was gonna do, obviously, when I was little. I know like I would always tell people that I wanted to be like a mad scientist or an inventor, which, I mean, I guess engineering, like, you make things in a way, right? Or the major I chose, mechanical engineering. So yeah, like that's what it started, and then at at some point I also wanted to be an author. I would write a lot. And maybe an artist. I've always enjoyed like art, but I don't think I ever really was like, oh, I want to be a painter or whatever. So yeah, so that's like kind of everything that was going in my mind when I was a child. And then middle school, yeah, like didn't really think about anything. And then high school is when my family moved, so we moved to a more like predominant white neighborhood. So because the school was better, like for high school. So we moved to a new town, and I got to start at a new high school. And that high school, like working through therapy and everything, that high school gave me so much, like, I don't even know if PTSD is the right word. I don't want to misuse anything, but just like trauma in the sense that it brought out my perfectionism a lot, and it was encouraging me too, I would say, in a sense. Like, I'm really grateful that I got to go to that high school because it had a bunch of really cool things that not all high schools have. Like, we had like 4 gyms, and we had like parts of our gym class was to like learn how to snorkel and just how to swim. Like, there's just like so many benefits to going to like a big school with a lot of resources. But then the downside of that was that there's a lot of, I felt like, competitiveness in the school. It was all about getting the best grade, not necessarily like learning the thing. And that brought obviously a lot of like anxiety to me wanting to be perfect and get the best grade and like be the best. So I feel like that really came out like junior and senior year, especially when people were talking about like applying to colleges and stuff. And I mean, it was good that I was in that environment where like college wasn't even a question, at least, because I knew that. But yeah, everybody was talking about what percentage they were of the top of the class and all this stuff, and so you kind of fall into that trap. So I always knew that I enjoyed like math and science, and so I was like taking like AP Calc like BC, and then AP Physics C, and then AP Physics, Electricity, and Magnetism. So outside of just like general courses like that I was taking, I always left myself like one class that was for fun, which I think I'm glad I did. I know that it wasn't like necessarily like normal for other people to do that who were taking classes like me, and I'm glad that I kind of stuck with that and was like, no, I'm gonna do one class for fun every year, because like I did like band for 2 years, and then I did a CAD class for my last 2 years. Oh, and I also took ceramics for 2 years. Oh my gosh, ceramics is my absolute favorite class. I need to get back into pottery. That was so fun, but it's also expensive like to do as a hobby, I feel, and I don't need another expensive hobby. But it was really fun, and I'm really glad that I got to learn about that. Shout out Mr. McCabe. Super great class. But after I took ceramics and band, then for my fun elective, I chose CAD, which is computer aided design. Honestly, I don't even know how I chose it. I think maybe I learned about the fact like that 3D modeling was a thing, like designing on your computer, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So then I took that class, which was like the intro to that basically, and then I really liked it. I really liked like being on the computer and designing something, and then learning how to dimension it in a drawing, like all that stuff, which is, I mean, kind of what I do in my job right now, but that was really fun. And so then from there, my my teacher of that class is the one that kind of introduced the idea of engineering to me, which is really awesome. Shout out Mr. Comer. He gave me a flyer for like a Introduce a Women to Engineering Day at UIUC, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, hosted by the Sweet chapter there. And my dad took me, and then that was kind of like what cemented it for me, I feel. We got like split up into groups, and we did like engineering activities, which it's just like a bunch of like problem solving challenges, right? And we got to make a catapult and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh, like this is engineering, like this is cool. So I feel like it just kind of fit. You needed, they would tell you that for engineering, like you need to like math and science, and then I was already taking like CAD class, so I learned like part of some engineering majors. So I was like, okay, like let's keep going. So I took the next like advanced CAD course my senior year, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do engineering, so then this will help me learn more. And yeah, from there I didn't even really think about other options. I didn't want to pursue something that was going to make me do more than 4 years of school in order to be the thing. Like, for example, like a doctor, like I'd have to do like 4 years of school and then a billion years of school and residence. Like, no. No thank you. Like, I just wanted to like do my 4 and then get the bag, and then if you want to, you can do like your master's and stuff. So that ruled out doctor, and then I was like lawyer, and I was like, oh my gosh, no. Like, reading and writing and researching at the time was like not appealing to me whatsoever. And also, once again, like 4 years of undergrad and then law school. Nope. That kind of went with like all the careers that I found interesting enough to think about. So like that, architect, a lot of my cousins are architects, so obviously like I was like, oh, like maybe an architect, because it's like design as well, right? So I looked into it, but then I heard you have to take like tests after you graduate, and I think a master's is like pretty common to do to be like the thing. So that also kind of, I was like, no thank you. And then anything like creative, like art, right? It's just, honestly, it was just kind of so scary to me that I was just not even considering it, because I was like, I don't even have a portfolio, and then like living off of art, like that sounds crazy. So I was just like, let's just do engineering. It sounded like a good mesh between the two. So yeah, I think that's just kind of how I made up my mind about engineering. And then I found other people at my school that were also gonna do that, so then it helped me like get an idea of like, oh, like this is what people do, or like this is a major that a lot of people want to do. So it made me almost like it feel like, whoa, okay, like yeah, I want to pursue this hard thing, because I think that's what I saw it as. I saw everybody like wanting to do this and talking about like how hard it is to get into these schools, and I was like, okay. And I think it was nerve-wracking, but that's what I realized, like looking back at a lot of things I've done, that I don't realize that I jump into like objectively hard things. Like, it's hard to get into a good engineering school. Like, it's hard to move away from home. Like, and in the moment that I'm doing it, I know that it feels hard, but then sometimes I'll discredit it and just be like, oh, well, I mean, like, other people do it, so it's not that bad. But I want to kind of rewrite that and give myself credit. Like, I did that. And I'm proud of myself. So I think that's what I'm learning, is to kind of reflect, when I'm reflecting back, like giving myself credit for what I did in the time that I did it. So yeah, I chose engineering. And then the choosing the school process too, like, it's been a while, I guess, which is crazy to say, but it's a blur. It's literally a blur. Like, it was also before COVID, like right before COVID, that I was applying to schools. 2019, because I graduated in 2020. So 2018, 2019 is when I was like visiting schools or hearing back from schools, so then deciding to go visit them before I like rejected or said yes. So like, I had already visited U of I for the event. And that's crazy to think about now, because like now I know what that building was. Like, Shoutout Loomis, like the physics building, that's where SWE held their event, which is crazy. So we visited again U of I on one of their like visit U of I days, and I signed up for a few like extra sessions outside of that. So like I met with, I'm pretty sure I got to meet like the MEP program, which is like the Moral Engineering program, I think. And then from there, I got connected to like a virtual session after that, to where they had students from other orgs, one of them being SHPE, which is the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And then that's where I learned that there's like clubs like that support students like during the process. So like SWE, SHPE, like that all really caught my eye. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, like, I don't know why it impacted me so much. Maybe and it impacts a lot of people, right? But like, what is it about us that like these organizations sound so cool? But I don't know, it just, I guess as a student it sounds so cool to think that you can organize events and like support like X amount of people at your chapter. And just, I think it was also this idea of like we're in school together, and I saw it as like a support system. So that's what I really liked about U of I. And at this time too, I didn't know what major I wanted to do. Like I knew I wanted to do engineering, and then from there I think I got like decision paralysis because there's a billion engineering majors, and I was like, what do they even do? So U of I had a like engineering undeclared major, so I was like, okay, sweet, like I don't even have to, I'll apply to that one, and then that gives me time to like figure out what I want to do, right? So that was what I was going with for that school. And then I was really into University of Michigan and Purdue because they automatically put all freshmen into like a undeclared, like you can't declare a major until your second year. So I was like, perfect, like I don't even know what I want to do, like that sounds awesome. And Michigan's campus is so pretty is all I remember. Like I just, obviously I really liked it. I visited their, like where they have all of the sports stuff, or not the sports stuff, all of their clubs, like their technical clubs. I visited that, and then from there, oh, let me just get this exit, guys. Am I in the wrong lane? Awkward. I didn't want to cut all these people. Blinded. Okay. Yeah, so at Michigan, like they got a tour of all of their like tech clubs, so I saw a lot of like the robotics clubs and formula, which I didn't realize how big of a thing that was gonna be, but yeah, like I got to see all of that, and that also I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like you could work on technical projects, like because I did robotics for my last year in high school, and honestly I wish I would have done that one earlier. Like I think it was very cool and beneficial, but yeah, so I was like, oh, I would love to do something like that in school, in college. So that was kind of like my thought process there. So I really liked that school. And then Purdue, when I visited there, I also like, because the tour guides at all of these were students, so like I think we just really clicked with the tour guide that was giving me and my family and like a bunch of other families like tours, because after that, like I think she gave us like a private tour, I don't know, she was like taking us all over, and then it was just like us and her, and she was from Colombia, and she was like telling us about her experience like coming from there to here, and what organizations really helped her thrive at Purdue, which was really cool to hear. And I really liked like one of the clubs that she was doing, so I had already like mapped out my life at Purdue. I was like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna join this club and get to do like all this engineering like outreach projects and blah blah blah. And so I was kind of set on Purdue. It was a beautiful campus. I had a cousin that had already gone there, so they were also like hyping it up, like, oh yeah, like Purdue, it was an amazing engineering school, and they talk about all their like career fairs, like exclusive, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, so I really like that one. So I ended up applying. I think I also toured like Northwestern, which is like a top tier school. It's not better in engineering than like the other ones that I mentioned, but it's just like a hard school to get into, period. And their campus is really pretty, and it's like all this stuff. So that one was cool, but I wasn't like super I was about it. So I applied to Northwestern, UMich, Purdue, University of Illinois. Oh, also I went to visit Wisconsin-Madison. Oh, that campus was so pretty too. I visited there because they had a scholarship specifically like for like minorities in STEM, I think, and it would cover everything. And I was like, okay, I'll go to Wisconsin-Madison if I get that scholarship. And that was like my condition, because they weren't like ranked up there with like U of I, Michigan, and Purdue, and I guess I wanted to go to the best. So I was like, yeah, it's pretty, but only if it's free. So that was like the condition for that one. And then I applied to Georgia Tech because it was a school that was good and up there in the rankings, and we have family in Georgia, so even though it was far, it wasn't like with nobody. So that was the appeal for that one. So then I applied, and then like received the news of which ones I got in and like how much financial aid I got from everything. And then this car didn't want to go in. Okay. And then I oh, so then I think I got waitlisted or denied. I don't know which one. New Michigan. I definitely just got denied from Northwestern, I think. And then I got into everything else. So I remember like I wanted to visit Georgia Tech because I was like, oh, I'm applying. And my mom was like, if you get in, like, we'll visit. So when I got into Georgia Tech, I was like, let's go, like, family vacation. You'll go see our cousins, like, blah, blah, blah. And we booked the like, tour. And then, like, we drive to Georgia, so we didn't buy any flights, I guess. And then, bam, COVID. So I never got to visit Georgia Tech. And also the price tag on that shit was crazy. It was like 60 grand a year. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so did not accept that one for obvious financial reasons. And then what else? So I didn't accept that one. And then Purdue gave me no money. And my parents have told me this, but apparently I was really sad about that. I don't remember, and maybe I blocked it out of my brain because I was so sad that I was not going to go to Purdue because they gave me no money. But I don't remember that. But yeah, so apparently I was super sad because they gave me no money. So it was really expensive because I was out of state. And then Wisconsin also didn't give me any money, and so I had already decided, like, well, I don't want to go if it's not going to be free. And then U of I gave me a lot of money. So then I picked it. And I guess looking back, maybe it wasn't my first choice, but I remember just being happy, and I do not regret my decision at all. It was super awesome, and I just don't see how I could have gone any other way now, like looking back on it. So it was great. So yeah, so that's how I got into engineering school. And then I did get into engineering undeclared. So my first year, I didn't have a major. I was just exploring classes. So in engineering undeclared, they let you take a class, like the intro class to any major that you want. So first year, I took the intro to computer science class, and then the second year, I took the intro to the mechanical engineering major. So, and then this is where the caveat comes, where it was COVID. So the first semester, which would be fall 2020, so like literally COVID, I stayed at home because we didn't know what was going to happen, if it was safe to go. There's like all these things that they were putting in place so that you could go, but then there's like rules of you couldn't even go to class, so then you're just in your dorm, blah blah blah. So I decided not to go, and honestly that was really fun. I think it was fine and good that I didn't go, because one, I saved myself $6,000 in housing, and I got to spend more time with my family. And because it was COVID, like my sister was home because her classes were on Zoom, and then my dad was working from home. My mom still had to go to work because she's a teacher, so that sucks. But we were just like home, and so we started going on a lot of like family bike rides. My dog loved it because we got to walk her like every day. I don't know, it was just this 6 months of honestly privilege of having a house with a big backyard and living near bike trails and stuff that we could do like outside, so there was no risk of, you know, like being contagious to other people. We never felt ill. I mean, I got COVID a couple times, but different times, and I don't know when. Not during this time. So honestly, like to me, COVID was really a time to connect with nature. I got really into like fitness, and I would do like my little outside workouts like every day. Like it was just really fun, and I feel really privileged to say that, and I'm really grateful that we got to experience that time like that together as a family. So that was really awesome. And then school-wise, well, I came in with so many like AP credits. Low-key, I did not have a lot of classes, so it was and the classes that I took were straight correlations to the classes I had just taken in high school, and I was at home, so I had access to all my notes and like all this. So like Calc 3, I really enjoyed because it was like it was a continuation of the Calc class that I had just taken. And wait, did I take Calc 3 over Zoom. Yeah, and then like I would go to office hours still on Zoom and like ask all my questions, and so like that was really fun. And then I also took my like intro to engineering course online. That one was weird. We had to do like a group project online that did not work out well, or I don't remember. And then I also had to take physics, which that one was interesting because you had to do all your labs with your lab partners over Zoom. And then like I had the actual like apparatus, so like I had to do all the experiments, but then like we did I don't know, but I remember physics was really fun also because I had just taken 2 years of physics, so it was all the same, so that was really easy. And then the intro to computer science course was like where it was like whoa, because I knew half of it, and then the other half like my partners carried me. Like I don't know, we would just Zoom all the time, and they would like explain it to me and like blah blah blah. So yeah, even though it was on Zoom, I think especially just like the personality type that I have, and I think I was like, well, I'm gonna do it, like I'm not gonna not. I think I was still in the grind of high school of like, oh well, like you wake up early, you do all your work, you do your homework, and then you go have fun. Like it was just, I was in a structured environment, so it really helped me like just do that for college, where otherwise I feel when you go to college and then it's kind of like, oh, you can do whatever you want, then it's kind of easy to do whatever you want, right? So that was also really good because it set me up with a really nice cushion like GPA for that first year, and I really enjoyed it. Like, and then also I joined SHPE online like through Zoom, so that was also randomly really fun even though it was through Zoom. So shout out to SHPE for being able to make it like entertaining even through Zoom. Like we were broken up into like houses to help you like meet people and other majors and just like upperclassmen, blah blah blah. And like my house, you would get points for like hanging out, and it's like a competition between all the houses. And so my house, we would have like study nights where we would just all be on Zoom, like all muted, but we're all like studying and doing work together. So that felt nice. It was not the same as like obviously being in the library with everyone, but you're still there, right? And then we would have we would play Among Us together. Like we would just like be like, okay, everyone hop on Among Us. That was crazy. So yeah, so I don't know, it was just like, I look back at my first semester and it was COVID, but it was really nice. I still feel like I met a ton of people, and it was definitely different, but it's just what life was then. Like there was no other option, and I honestly feel like I made the most out of it. So obviously though, then second semester I was dying to get to go like in person, especially I met all these cool people in SHPE and in my classes, and I was like, I want to meet these people in person, because a lot of people that I talked to, they were all in person. So I was like, okay, like if I go, then there will be in person. So I went, and it helped because I had one class that was in person second semester. So I was like, okay, I have to go because it's in person. And so I went, and then I had to stay in the dorms, but because U of I needs you to stay in the dorms, but it was nice because they waived the fact that you have to stay in the dorms for a year. So I got away with staying in the dorms for only half a year, and then I could do an apartment, which is cheaper. So I stayed in the dorms, and then because it was COVID and there was just like not as many people on campus, I got a double dorm to myself. Like I didn't have a roommate, so I had like double closets, double bed, double space, like of everything. And then I also got really lucky because I got put on the 5th floor of ISR, which is newly renovated dorm. It was connected to the dining center, so like if I wanted food, I didn't even have to leave a building, so I could go down in my pajamas. And at the time I didn't even know that other dorm buildings you had to like actually leave, like put on a coat and go outside to get food, which yeah, another example of being spoiled. So I got put onto the 5th floor, so there was nobody above me, and then this floor was like kind of like a special floor because it was part of a living learning community. So even though I didn't pay to be in the living learning community, I was still kind of like in their community. And then everybody on my floor was so awesome, like so sweet, so nice. Like I remember when my parents were still there and we were moving in, like all of them like kind of like ganged up and knocked on my door and was like, hi, like we're part of the 5th floor north as well, like what's your name, like and I was just like, oh hey guys, my parents are still here. It was just funny, but I was like, awesome. So then yeah, it was just awesome. I think I just got really lucky with my dorm and like the people that I got to be around. Like we would get dinner together and lunch together, like hang out after classes. Like it was really fun, and I met some really amazing people, and like through my dorm and my roommates. So then I was like, oh, I'll just do dorm again. But then after living by myself in the dorm, I was like, how do people share this tiny thing? So then I was like, okay, no, I need an apartment. So with a couple of of friends from like my floor at my dorm, like we got an apartment for the next year. I realize I've gotten sidetracked of like the whole engineering story to begin with, so maybe I'll just pause on giving you my whole college experience and just say that that's how I got into engineering. And then being in engineering is like a whole another thing that I don't really think, I don't know, I feel like COVID kind of changed the experience a bit, so it was definitely different. And I don't know that you could base your own decision of like doing engineering or not off of mine. But I think the biggest thing that I learned and that I can take away from like that whole process was just you need to do something that you're passionate about and that you actually enjoy doing. Because if something is hard but you can find the fun in it, then you'll keep doing it. But if it's hard and you don't enjoy it, then why are you doing it? So, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be like that for every class because, you know, you have gen eds and things that you just have to do for engineering. Like, you might not like chemistry, but you have to take chemistry. But it'll lead you to the fun things. So I just think it's just remembering, like, the end goal. And also not getting too caught up in, like, actual major names. Especially coming from, like, undeclared. Like, honestly, almost any engineering major is, like, transferable to whatever industry you want to do. Obviously, you just pick the one that you think is maybe, like, the closest. But yeah, I think it's more about focusing, like, what do you want your day-to-day life to look like as an engineer, and then work backwards from there, like, oh, what engineering major can give me this sort of experience. So I think that's the most important thing that I've learned, and then also that it's not all about grades, and that I would much rather understand what I'm learning and feel that and get a bad grade than not understand and get a good grade. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to hear. It's definitely hard for me to hear, but I definitely felt it like my junior and senior year. So I don't know. I also think a big part of just going to college in general is just like being independent and learning how to live. Like I think that was an invaluable experience and one of the best parts of going to college, despite the degree. And engineering, like you're just getting a degree in problem solving. So yeah, I don't know. It feels so much more deep when you're in it, and then when you get out of it, you're like, okay, like, yeah, like that's what I did. So I'm proud of myself. I finished my mechanical engineering degree, and now I'm a full-time engineer. So yeah, I guess that's just like a little rundown. Let me know if you guys are curious about any other specific part of my college experience. Go from there. But yeah, feel free. Let me know if you're considering an engineering degree, or if you have one, what you're doing. I'm always curious to hear about what different like careers are out there. So I think it's super interesting, and I think it's really empowering to hear other people's stories and how they got to where they are. So that's kind of why I wanted to share mine, and then also to be able to look back at this part of my life and how did I get here, right? Because I was already struggling to remember right now, so this was helpful for me. And I hope it's helpful for somebody out there, maybe. So thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.